Hey guys, so I'm going to give you all an update. I had my baby. I had Jedediah at 35 weeks and 6 days and just a few minutes before I turned 36 weeks. Yeah, it was a pretty crazy day. So about 3 days or 2 days before that, I was having a ton of contractions, but mostly like Braxton Hicks. And then at about 1 o'clock in the morning of February 8th, my contractions got painful. And so I got up and, walked around, tried to figure out what was happening. And it didn't seem like labor because when I go into labor, at least that I know of, the contractions are just ongoing and really fast. And these were not. These were sporadic and lasted for, different amounts of times. The only thing that made me think that this is possibly labor is I had a lot of pain in my pelvic area and also all the way to my back. And so at about noon, I called the midwife and oh yeah, so I didn't tell y'all. I switched from my doctor to a midwife. So on Friday, I called the insurance company, switched myself over to a plan that would allow me to see the midwife and have them pay. And then I also got to see the midwife on Monday. And then, so Thursday rolls around and all this is happening. Excuse my face, I look tired because I just woke up. So I called her at noon and she came over shortly after that, I think. I'm not sure if that's how it all went, but anyways, I call her, she comes over, checks me. I'm still only 2.5 centimeters dilated. Just seems like nothing really. And then the contractions sort of, I get a break and I'm thinking, okay, it wasn't labor. It's just, my body's maybe getting ready for it. And then this went on all day. And so all day I'm walking around and, have a contraction and thinking, this really hurts. But it's not labor. But it's really painful like labor. And I'm texting the midwife throughout the day of, how I'm feeling, what's happening. And she tells me to drink 3 big, tall glasses of water. And I drink them. And I think, okay, because the contractions stop. And so I text her, the contractions stop. And within a few minutes, they start up again. And I'm just like, I don't even know why I sent her that text. So I text her again later that I'm having the contractions again. And I'm timing them. But guys, these things were not consistent whatsoever at all to make you think you're in labor. I mean, the hospital probably would have sent me home to be like, you're not in labor, you're just having contractions here and there. And so I decided I was gonna eat a little bit and then lay down. So I did that. I laid down and maybe 20 minutes went by, and in those 20 minutes I had a break of contractions. And I think I fell asleep for a few minutes. And then I woke up with intense labor pain. And my husband had just said, I'm going to bed. And I was like, okay. So he had laid down too. And then I'm trying to remember. I felt one contraction. And I pushed through it. I was like, this is just, going to be one out of maybe a few, and within such a long period of time. So I hadn't had one in 20 minutes, and then I had one, and then within, I want to say seconds, I had another one, and I jumped out of bed. I was like, oh, this hurts, it's really painful. And so I go to the restroom, and I had those pads, that protect things. So I went to the restroom and I kept having them. So I went back to my bed and I pulled that pad and I brought it to the restroom. And I think I was in there for maybe 5 or 10 minutes. And the contractions wouldn't stop. It was just like one after another after another. And I was like, this hurts. And I remember I started praying and I was like, God, please give me a sign if this is labor, that the baby's coming really soon, because this is awful. You know, I started sympathizing with women who get the epidural and whatnot. But like, if I had to go through this for hours and hours and days, this would be awful. And I'm not against, you know, the epidural. I've had it before, but it was just one of those things where it was like, I can see why I would give in, or why somebody would give in after they had decided to not do the epidural. Because I decided I don't want one, because I love how I could just get up and take a shower and, you know, move around. But anyway, so take that pad in there, and I sat on the toilet for a while, because it just, I mean, you have that sensation of maybe, I guess, like you're going to go, but you don't go. And that's kind of how it felt. And then I was, I decided this probably is labor, because it just, like I said, it didn't stop. So I put the pad down on the ground, and I just sort of sat on the ground and on all fours and just kind of waited. It felt, there was so much pressure down there. I mean, unless you go through labor, you really don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so I had all that pressure, and then all of a sudden, after praying, I think it was like a minute or two, my water broke. And so I texted the midwife right away. My water broke. And so she was coming out to my house, and I had thought I wanted a water birth. And so my husband, yeah, this is kind of crazy. So he went outside to water the cows in the back that haven't been watered. So we had all those water issues. So when he went to water them, he disturbed a water line, and then it pushed through dirty water through the house. So he ran the water for a good hour and a half before my actual, I guess, water broke and all that. And so we were kind of nervous. We thought we were going to have to go to the birthing center, but we ended up not having to, because he flushed everything out. And then when it came time to deliver the baby, and after I had got on the floor, there was no getting up. I was stuck. I was like, I'm not moving, because the contractions were just back to back. And honestly, getting up, I think, would have been more painful, and moving around during the contraction, it would have made me more irritable. And so my water breaks, and my husband's in the other room, and I told him, I was like, my water just broke. And so he got up and came, and I had texted the midwife. He goes, are you going to call the midwife? I was like, I'm not calling anybody. I was like, you can call her. So I handed him the phone. I told him I had texted her. And so he calls her, and I honestly don't even know what they're saying, because I'm in the zone. I'm focused on what I'm doing. And after my water broke, the contractions slowed down, which was really nice, because I got a break. And then in between the time I text her and the time she got there, I think was like maybe 15 minutes or so. No, between the time I text her and the time I had the baby was 15 minutes. So in those 15 minutes, I think I had maybe 2 or 3 more contractions. On one of the contractions, I pushed, and I looked, and it looked like I could see an umbilical cord before the baby. And so I got nervous, and I was like, I'm not pushing. And then I got another contraction, but the next contraction was like maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes later. And that one, I was like, I pushed a little bit, and I backed out because I got scared, because it started hurting. And I was like, I'm not going to push him out. I don't want to feel that yet. I'm not ready. But it seemed like my body actually took over and pushed for me. And because it did that, I really couldn't back out. So I helped and pushed as well. And the baby just came out at once, all at once. Like, there wasn't the head, the shoulders, you know, it was just like, there's the baby. And right before that, though, I'm telling my husband, I didn't want to push my husband in there. I don't know why. I'm just uncomfortable, you know. They talk about women using the restroom when they have their baby. I didn't want that to happen, and I didn't want him to be in there if that happened. And so I was like, just get out. And he was like, no, I need to help you. I was like, no, get out. And he was like, no, I'm not going anywhere. I was like, I said, get out. So he starts walking out, but right when he walks out, I was like, oh no, it's coming. So he turns around and he still sees the baby born and everything, which was fine after that because everything was okay. But I was just paranoid. So yeah, I had the baby and we had towels and everything already there. So we put the baby in a towel, and he was asking, well, what do I do? I was like, well, just hold him for a minute because I still have to pass my placenta or whatnot. And so I went to a sitting down position and just kind of rubbed my tummy, and the placenta came out, and everything was done in minutes. I mean, he was out, the placenta was out, and I was like, I'm going to take a shower before the midwife gets here and just be, all cleaned up. So I took a shower, got dressed, and the midwife came in, and I just looked at her and I was like, I'm done. And she goes, yeah, that's what everybody says. And I was like, no, I'm done. The baby's in the restroom with Joe, and we're finished. So she goes in there and she takes care of the baby, cuts the cord and whatnot, and I go to my bed and baby comes with me. And it was honestly so cool. It was so peaceful and non-hectic. I didn't have, IVs and doctors and nurses running in and out of the room. There was nothing traumatic that happened. It was just me, Joe, and the baby. So it was really nice. We didn't intend on having this unassisted birth. Obviously, we intended on the midwife coming and being there. So it worked out differently. But I'm honestly really glad with the way it went. It was funny because the midwife was saying she was praying that the women would have their babies really fast, like the Hebrew women did when the Pharaoh wanted all the babies killed and wanted the midwives to do it. And so she was praying that the women would have their babies really quick, but she was like, I wasn't praying that they would have them before I got there. And I was like, well, that's what happened in the scriptures. I was like, the women had the babies before the midwife showed up, they said. And so I was like, I honestly was praying that I would hurry up and have the baby before you got there. That way I could just clean up and be, finished. And that's how it went. So it was really nice. Yeah, so after I had Jedediah, it was just pretty mellow and peaceful in the room. I got to lay down, hold him, nurse him, and everything was fine. He weighed 5 pounds, 9 ounces, and they measured him 18 inches long, but we measured him again and we got 19 because I have never had a baby 18 inches. That was just really small. He's really skinny, but he looks well proportioned. I honestly think he's a really pretty baby, but that could be because he's my baby. Yeah, but he's healthy. I'm doing fine. Everybody's fine, and we're adjusting really well to this new member in our family. So I wanted to thank all my viewers and YouTubers for your prayers and for your encouragement throughout this pregnancy. I will talk to y'all later and give y'all more updates on how things are going. Y'all take care. And if you're new to my channel, I would really love it if you would subscribe and stick around. And to all my other subscribers that have been with me and have stuck with me, thank y'all. Bye.